Okay, what I'm going to show you is how you can create clouds using the cupcake die, and it's actually the technique I used on the card that I posted tonight. So what I've done is just with some scrap cardstock, I've just punched out a series of the cupcake frosting. And what I actually do is I use these as a template to sponge. Now I'm using Baja Breeze here. I've got Whisper White cardstock. To the side of me, I have got a 2-year-old who I have begged to not to make any noise, and she's looking at me like I'm not doing anything, but she is fidgeting, so I apologize for any noise that you pick up. What you want to do is you want to tap the dauber onto your ink pad. What I do then is I just tap it off onto my scrap bait like placemat, and then what I do is I just tap it. I'm bouncing it along the cardstock, so I'm just very lightly, and I like to move right along so that I've got different shades. So I've got some here where it's darker, back here where it's just a slightly lighter strength, and then I'll go back. So you can just build up some of that ink. Now when I move away the template, you can see here that I've started to form the clouds. So I'll ink up again. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move my cloud templates along. Now I like to use 2 templates so that I can get a nice shaped cloud, okay? I don't go completely hard all the time, and I'll just move it again. And just here, I'll sponge a little bit more. And it's just a case of moving it along. You'll have parts that are lighter, parts that are darker. But it's actually quite a cloudy day in this little balloon scene. So you can see here how I'm building it. So the top, I always start at the top and then I work my way down. And I try to have different shapes on each row. And when I move down, I actually try to get a little bit lighter each progression. Ebony, you're talking. Didn't you know it was only me that was meant to be talking? She's just shook her head and as a yes, you're right. Yes, you're right, Auntie. You are the star of this show, although I am cuter than you. Would you like to say hello? Nope. Okay, so I just keep on moving along. And I think you can see here, this sky is really starting to form. You could move them further down. You can sponge harder and have more blue, but I like them quite light. Okay. And you can see here that I am starting to get it to go down, so it is in fact lighter. And I'm not, you can see I'm also not tapping as much as I was in the beginning. At this point, I might stop because I think you can probably see there is enough. And so also on that card, you would notice that I had actually sponged on my background. So what I did for that one was I stamped directly onto my coloured cardstock. So here I have Wisteria Wonder, which I sometimes get caught up in calling Wild Wonder, which I don't know why I do that. I also have customers that call Soft Swage Septic Sludge. And then when I go to a workshop and I say Septic Sludge, people think, gee, that doesn't sound like a very enticing colour. Okay, so because I'm working with Versamark, I'm not going to get them tones of light and shade that I did when I was working on the white cardstock with the blue. But this was so that I wanted to carry the clouds through to the background of my card. I don't use a lot of cards. I don't use a lot of printed papers. I love creating backgrounds. I use a lot of embossing folders and a lot of ink effects on my backgrounds. Okay. And on this side. Now, because it is a background, I'm actually not following it all the way through. And I'm actually just going to worry about the top and down the sides. Okay. So you can see here I'm tapping. Now this has got quite a different consistency to when you're sponging with the standard Stampin' Up classic ink pads. And that's because it is Versamark, it is a little more sticky. You also don't need to work it as much. And you can see here how quickly I'm forming my clouds.